What's up, guys? Trevor here, Paradise Skate Mag, with my man Hounds.
Oh, what up?
How are you, my G?
We in Bali, baby.
We are out here in Ubud, in Bali, in a magical forest, an elven forest, where things are just beautiful.
It's Lord of the Rings out here.
Bro, that's amazing.
One bearing to rule them all.
One flute to rule them all. How did
Fellowship of the bearing.
Fellowship of the... Fuck yeah, dude. Let's do it. Let's do it. We need a skate video in Bali. We need a fucking, like... This is a full pipe. We could skate this.
We could skate this.
We could. They probably wouldn't give a shit. Let's fucking do it. We need to fucking grind this or just do a wall ride.
4 words to live by. We could skate this.
It just opens, like, it removes all boundaries. Anything can happen. Let's get creative. What are the possibilities here? Endless, right? I mean, there's some things like matter interacting with other pieces of matter. That's what skating really is, right? It's like matter, your skateboard, hitting other things of matter, using your energy, boom, and then you create something like art.
It's the graffiti of sports, they say.
It's a great analogy. It really is.
We're also the subtle decomposers of the urban landscape, right? Like we grind things down. We break things up. People build a nice new urban development plaza. We come and we slowly bring the materials back to the earth, you know, back to dust.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a natural decomposition of the concrete jungle, which was built with what in mind? I mean, structure, containing, or is it comfort? I don't know. Why do they build concrete anything? It's really protection, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
We don't, you know, skateboarding is all about anti-protection. Like, we want to skate without helmets, you know? Like, we want to just go fucking power slide on shit and fucking skate in the rain, you know? Like, we want to see how far we can take it. And get hurt sometimes, but fuck it.
Yeah. And I think there's also this thing with skaters, like, seeking for more in life. Like, not being fully satisfied with the options that we're given in the mundane day-to-day matrix of norms, and we just want more out of life and push it.
So tell me, how did you learn how to play this flute? What's the story behind that? Because that's amazing.
Yeah, so in Christmas of 2020, my mom bought my dad a Native American style flute from this guy in Appleton, Wisconsin, where I'm from, who makes them. And my dad was like, oh, cool, but he wasn't really playing it. And at the time, I was going through a really hard time, and I just picked up the flute and started playing it. And the guy who made them said that the flutes are made for expressing prayer beyond words, right? They're very emotional. They're very easy to, kind of put your feelings into. And so I just started playing it, and it's actually a pretty easy instrument to pick up. You know, it's just like a recorder. So you get the holes down, and next thing you know, it's like you're making some magical sounds.
It sounds wonderful. It sounds like poetry. Like, it's just got this, like, calming effect, you know?
Yeah.
Very calming, very meditative. I just kind of sit there and listen to you and, like, close my eyes and not think about anything for a minute.
Yeah.
Do you use it to help meditate at all, or is it a part of the process?
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like it's an outlet for me to express music.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes sorrow too. Like, sometimes I get really into my feels with it, or joy.
Definitely.
You kind of just, express emotions and through it. And that's the thing with woodwind instruments. When you blow into it, there's that element of like, yeah, you just use your breath and
telling a story through your vocal cords.
Yeah, so it's quite easy. A lot of instruments take so much, like guitar, for example. It's very hard to get good to the point where you can be truly expressive on it.
True.
improvisational.
So let's talk about your upbringing. You're from Wisconsin, yeah?
Yeah,
So how old are you?
30.
30. Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
30 years ago was 95, right?
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. Mid 90s, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, so I was born in Philadelphia.
Right. Oh,
February 21st,
My bad.
1995. And we moved to Wisconsin when I was about 1 year old.
Oh, gotcha.
My parents and my older brother and I.
gotcha.
And
Do you know
I have
why,
a little
or-
brother too. Yeah, so my dad is an architect.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And he had some friends from college who moved to Appleton, Wisconsin. It's this cute little city. It's 75,000 people. It's very safe. It's kind of artsy, but pretty, you know, it's a good Wisconsin town, truly. It's on a river.
Sounds chill.
It used to be like the paper milling capital of the world because of the rapids of the river. They used it to make hydroelectricity and to use the mills and stuff like that. So there's a lot of old brick paper mills that have been sort of redeveloped into like apartments or bars or things like that.
Yeah.
There's a really cool little liberal arts college there with a big performing arts scene. So there's a lot of live music.
Cool.
And yeah, I grew up there. I went to Catholic school my whole life.
Wow. Yeah.
And I got a skateboard for Christmas. Back to the Christmas, you know, good things come at Christmas, you know.
It's true though.
Christmas of when I was in first grade, my brother and I got Walmart boards and a Nintendo 64 with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1.
Oh heck yeah, it's on.
So it was winter time. We couldn't really skate, but we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. Started getting into it.
Yeah.
My older brother started skating, and I just wanted to do whatever he was into. You know, I was really like looking up to him, and he thought it was cool. He eventually, that same year, got a regular, like a proper deck, not a Walmart deck. And I wanted one so bad, so I got one shortly after too.
How old is your brother?
My older brother's 3 years older than
3
me,
years
so
older,
he'd be
right?
33 now.
So like older brother kind of influenced you?
Yeah, totally. Like
Cool.
when I really think about why I got into skating,
Yeah.
it's because I wanted to be close to my brother.
For sure.
And I think that's deep too, because
Yeah.
there is such a brotherhood within skating. You know, regardless what your gender is, there's that sense of like you want to be connected with
100%.
others. You know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you share a lot of experiences through
Yeah.
skating, you know? That's cool, man. I love it.
I just started skating in my driveway, but there were actually 2 indoor parks in my hometown,
Yeah.
which is rare.
Okay.
75,000 people, 2 indoor parks. And they're both owned and operated by BMXers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to parks like that.
Yeah, because
Ramps are huge
the
and shit.
Midwest back in the early 2000s was actually one of the biggest places for BMXing
For sure.
at the time.
Yeah.
My hometown is actually home to one of the most OG BMX crews. It's called the Baco crew.
What?
And they actually pioneered flatland freestyle BMX.
Sick.
So,
Crazy.
you know, people on the brakes
Yeah.
and like front brake coping tricks.
Yeah.
A lot of that was pioneered like in these small towns in northeastern Wisconsin.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird history.
Because I've been down to Venice and there's always these guys on the BMX flat ground area there doing
Yeah.
all these crazy things. I'm like, wow, it must have started here, but
No, that kind of started in Wisconsin.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever do BMX? Or
Well, I
play
kind
with
of thought I wanted to. It's funny, my older brother actually was kind of convincing me, like, oh, I'm the skater, like, you want to be the BMXer, and he would have me tow him around on my bike on his skateboard and tell me that's like training.
it?
Yeah. But back then we used to call them aluminum humpers. The BMXers, the aluminum humpers.
It's like rollerbladers or the fruit booters.
Yeah, the fruit booters and the aluminum humpers.
Great. Holy shit.
But that's
man.
how the 2 indoor skate parks could survive.
Right, totally.
Because there's the thriving inline scene, thriving BMX scene, and the skaters.
So they were designed more for BMX, yeah? Like big ramps, big.
Yeah, so they both
really
had
high
like
ledges, so.
big 9-foot quarter pipe,
Yeah.
the fly box, and then they had hitching posts. Like, I don't know if you know hitching posts. Like, you got your quarter pipe, and then you've got like a big wooden beam like this high out for bikers.
Yeah.
And then the street spines, which like the spines had a big gap in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, like 6-foot quarter pipes,
Right.
and then like all the ledges had like actual round coping on them.
yeah.
But they were really sick parks.
Yeah,
And so actually, before I started going to the indoor parks, there was a gymnastics place in town that had a half pipe. and they did skate lessons.
What?
Yeah, so I
Sick.
would go do gymnastics lessons and then go to skate lessons. And that's where I learned to like drop in, rock to fakie. Like I learned how to skate on a mini ramp.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's why you're so, I mean, natural in a bowl or a mini ramp or, you know, half pipe.
Yeah, mini ramp actually is my favorite. I was very lucky when I was in 4th grade, so I must have been skating for like 3 years at that point. And I was getting pretty decent. Like I was that kid at the skate park with full pads, big knee pads, big elbow pads, helmet, obviously. And I would skate like vert. Like I would do early grabs and like inverts and stuff. I had this mentor, his name was Jeff, and he was a vert skater. So I kind of learned how to skate from the perspective of transition skating.
Yeah.
And then when I was in 4th grade, my parents were able to actually build a mini ramp in our garage.
Oh, amazing.
So I had a little
sick.
3-foot mini ramp in our garage.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And you and your brother would skate it all the time? Your friends, I'm assuming?
My brother only kept skating for about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And then when he dropped off, it was like,
For sure.
that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
you know?
he was having fun.
My dad wanted me to play all these other sports, and I did.
Yeah.
But eventually it was just like skating.
Was it just because of his work or going
Oh,
to
you know how it
college,
is,
or
like,
just like
sports, man.
Yeah,
sports.
yeah,
you
different
know,
things,
kids
yeah.
got to play sports, and
for sure.
it's a good thing. And at the time I resisted it a lot, and
Yeah.
but it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Try other things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, what is it that draw you to skateboarding in the first place? It's kind of like the freedom, right? Or like the ability to just like do whatever you want when you want. Like you can have a coach if you want, but you don't really have to, and you don't have to play with a team if you don't have to, you know?
Yeah, that was always hard, the team sport thing.
Right? Like
Yeah.
the practice, like you have to go to practice, and then you have to like
Yes.
do tryouts and all this shit.
I gotta
Yeah.
go to practice,
Bro.
and then I would always not feel like I was very good at it. And I was kind of, you know, I still am kind of introverted, right? So I kind of wanted like that time to skate and just do it my own way was always kind of.
Like a lot of skateboarders are very
Yeah.
introverted, you know, like a great percentage of them. I think very few skateboarders are extroverts. I mean, when they grow up, they're maybe more extroverted, but especially when they're young, you know, like we generally get into it because it's something you can do on your own with your close friends, and you don't have to do it at any particular time. Like we don't really subscribe to like, you know, having to do stuff on someone else's time, you know, like I'm going to do things on my own watch. Right? So how big is the scene out in Wisconsin? Did it grow or?
It's big.
Yeah?
Yeah, Wisconsin's got a great scene. I
Cool.
mean, other than Appleton, you've got cities like Milwaukee and Madison,
Yeah.
and they've got great
Okay.
scenes.
So it's
great
all kind of
parks.
like different cities and around.
Yeah.
How far are those apart? Like hour or two, or-
Milwaukee and Madison are both about an hour and a half
Oh, that's not far.
south.
Sick.
And then you've got Chicago, which is 3 hours away, 3 hours south.
Okay.
And then you've got the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and those are 5 hours west.
Gotcha. Cool. So
And
you got
there's
a lot of different
There's a
scenes.
lot going on. And then a
Yeah.
big part of the story is that there's a skate camp. It is actually an old Woodward camp that used to be in northern Wisconsin. It's called Lake Owen Camp.
Ah, yeah, sick.
And it was like
must
a
be so fun.
really chill skate camp.
It was like out in nature.
It was out
they
in the
build the
North
ramps out there,
Woods,
yeah.
on a lake,
Cool.
super loose rules.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like most Woodwards are. It was
Right.
very chill
Very like
and very beloved. Like this camp is special. I'm
Cool.
telling you, there's
on a lake. You said?
yeah. There's no place that was ever like that. And
So you can like go swimming and have other like activities and like
yeah,
skate and
I just like drink sodas and
Yeah.
Red Bull and then be like, I didn't shower. I went there, so I begged my parents to go when I was 9. So I'd only been skating for 1 year, or maybe a year and a half. And I went when I was 9, and I dropped in on the vert ramp, which was a huge stoke for me. But I didn't shower the entire time. No one made me shower. So my mom came there to get me, and I had like dirt all over my face.
oh no. Isn't that the best though?
Yeah.
You just don't care. Love it.
And then getting exposed to older kids
Yeah.
and adults that were stoked on me
True.
and stoking me up because I was relatively good at a young age. And so I was getting all this positive feedback from people.
Yeah.
And it was like really good for my confidence and my self-esteem.
Totally. Yeah. Did any of those people also kind of introduce you to other things like the yoga that you're into now or anything like that? Or where did you pick that up from?
I picked up yoga from my dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my dad's really into yoga asanas, yoga poses, you know?
Yeah.
And I picked that up from him when I was like 17,
okay.
18. But I was always told to stretch. People are always like, you should stretch. So when I was a kid, I would show up to the skate park and I would like stretch and stuff.
It's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
Like I remember we were at the skate park the other day and you're just out there stretching. I'm like, damn, this dude's smart. I need to stretch. Like, and then you got me stretching.
Yeah.
Because really it is. It makes up your muscles, you know? Makes you feel good. It lets you breathe and stuff too, you know?
Well, it's like my recipe is warm up beforehand and stretch after.
Ah, okay. Got it. Kind of part of like some stretching sort of is like warming up, like when you move your leg up and down like that. Kind of like warming it up.
Yeah,
you know, right? Like you're doing like little stuff. Like what's your typical warm up routine on a skateboard? You probably have a routine.
Yeah, so a few different things. One of them is I'll do sun salutations, which is like a classic yoga warm up, like the up dog, down dog. But you get in the plank right, you engage the core, all that. Other things I like to do, I do step ups. I'll come up to the ledge and I'll just step up, step down, step up, step down, step up, step down. Yeah. And then when I know I'm really ready, is I'll do pistol squats. So I'll start warming up so that I can do the pistol squats. It's like the one-legged squat.
Oh yeah, okay.
And once I can do that, then sometimes I'll do box jumps. And that's how I know I'm ready, when I can just like do box jumps.
Yeah.
Because some people right out of the gate, they can be not warmed up, like in the car for 5 hours, get out of the car and they can jump. For some reason, as I get older, like I can't jump
for sure
if I'm not warmed up. Like I'm like,
it's pretty natural.
I've like one time I tried to jump and I wasn't warmed up and I like injured my knee just like jumping.
Yeah, that's pretty normal, I think, as we age.
Yeah.
Our bodies just like need more warm up, you know? They just, I don't know. It's like when you're young, it's like you don't need it for some reason. Your body's just like ready to go no matter what.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that happens.
And that's the thing, I'm so inspired by older skaters, like who are in their 50s. I mean, Tony Hawk, for example, but there's so many people from his generation who are still ripping.
Yeah.
And it has so much to do with those, you know, fitness and exercise and
the warm-up routine. Like they have it down. Like they know what they need to do so they don't get injured, you know?
Yeah.
It's important, man, because if you just go and jump on your board and try the hardest thing, you're gonna eat shit probably, like, you know, and then it's gonna hurt. That's not good, you know? So it's way better to have a warm-up routine.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm in it for the long run. You know, I've been skating for 22 years, and that feels like a long time.
Definitely.
And I really admire people who've been skating for a long time, because throughout life, there's so many things that come at us, like work, school, relationships, stress, anxiety, depression, addiction, you name it, that kind of get in the way of, you could leave skateboarding behind very easily if you wanted to.
Sure.
And like, how old are you?
38.
38, right? And you've been skating for a long time too. And I feel like skateboarding is almost, I love the little kids out there who are ripping, but I tend to be so much more impressed when I watch an older skater skate.
Right? It's like they're still doing it, you know? They're like not afraid, and especially if they're ripping and doing big stuff. I mean, you know, whatever, there's a big ramp or like a big ledge, or usually it's transition. You see older skaters skating transition, I think, a lot more often than like street stuff. You know, I don't usually see like a 50-year-old jumping down a handrail, but usually like they're like doing some like cool shit on the quarter pipe, you know, or like a DIY or something. Like, I think it's a lot more common.
It's a lot more common, like it, but at the same time, I don't think transition, like a lot of people have this idea, I'm going to skate street when I'm younger, and then when I'm older, like then I'll learn how to skate vert and stuff.
Right.
It's still super gnarly. Like,
it is gnarly though, yeah.
Like if you don't build that
for sure
early on, it's not like it's easy.
It's very mental.
It's not like it's like, oh, now I'm old, now I'll skate transition.
Because
like,
ramps are like surfing. Like anything over your head is going to be scary, you know? Like you go up to it and it's like, whoa, if I slip out or fall forward or whatever it is, you could go out to flat. Like, especially if you're trying to nair or some shit and you're like, you know? It's way down there. You start getting like 6 feet up. So you gotta be careful, you know? But I think there's something to that, like learning how to stay low and like over the coping, but like not over too much so that you fall off, but like just in the bowl. Like you were skating the Ulu bowl the other day, like very nicely, like get up into that and you can just stay right over that pinch point where like the coping is still in the bowl, or like your weight's still in the bowl, but you're still in the coping, and then you like drop right in after that. It's very like, it's something you learn with a lot of practice, you know? It's hard to do it first, for sure.
And that's why I always recommend when people are learning to skate, wear knee pads.
Oh,
Because
right.
the knee pads did so much for me. I skated with knee pads the first 4 years of skating.
Gotcha.
And that's, I feel like, a huge reason I was able to get good at vert.
Right.
Because when I was a kid, like I told you, it took me 4 years to learn how to kickflip.
Yeah.
But I could blast airs on vert ramps when I was like 12.
Crazy.
Big airs on vert ramps. But I couldn't kickflip. And but it's the pads, man.
Yeah,
the pads.
I see kids nowadays out here, they use the pads just when they're street skating too. And if you miss the trick on the rail, you just knee slide out of it. Super smart.
Yeah.
Like, then you save your ankles, you know, you're saving your knees, because knee pads, they don't mess your knees up. You know, you just, maybe you're messing your shoes up a little bit, but if you learn how to, you know, knee slide correctly, you're probably not going to mess up anything, really, just the knee pads.
You want to mess your shoes up, do kickflips.
Yeah, I know. That's why, like, in the last, like, year or so, I really decided, like, I'm going to chill out on flip tricks and just, like, do more, like, bowl skating and stuff without the flips, because you can make your shoes last so much longer if you don't do flip tricks. Also, I realized with flip tricks, if you do them right, your shoes don't get as messed up. But like if you for instance, like the board, here's your feet for example, if you're positioned like this and you do a kickflip, you're gonna really screw up the side of your foot more. But if you position your foot a little bit closer like that, then it's like the toe cap of your foot that hits the board, and it doesn't fuck up your shoes nearly as quickly. Like that little hole doesn't form as fast. It's more like on the toe side of it. I just realized that recently, and I was like, oh my god, why didn't I learn that a long time ago, you know? But yeah, you learn stuff, man. You live and you learn, you know?
That's it. We live and you learn.
Yeah, man. Skateboarding's a journey like that.
It's been such a journey, and a lot of times I reflect on how blessed I am with all the experiences that I've had in skateboarding.
Yeah, so tell me how it like evolves, like from where you're 12, whatever, you know, doing crazy stuff, like to now, like it must have gone through so many crazy things, huh?
Yeah, man, like I really have. And first of all, I've given it up to my child self, little Hans, who was so sick, dude. Like when I was a kid, I was ripping super hard. Like there's videos of me, like when you look up videos of me when I was 9 or 12, I still love watching those videos. Like I have 2 little kid parts that I filmed.
They're on YouTube, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
2 little kid parts, and they're both super sick. And I watch those, and they make me so happy. And I love that little kid so much.
Was it your parents filming, or your friends, or?
Yeah, so a little bit my parents, and a little bit, like I said, I had this mentor named Jeff.
Right, so he's filming.
Who brought me to all these skate parks. And then I was really into contests too, so I would skate all these contests around the Midwest.
Sick.
And I do really well. So I have got all these old like trophies, like beginner division, first place, you know.
Right.
And the contests were cool. Amazing. And then I was going to that camp every summer, and I was really coming up. And people were like, "Oh, you're gonna go pro when you're a kid. Like when you're older, like are you sponsored?" Blah, blah, blah. And so my skate ego was really starting to develop, right?
Yeah.
And then when I was 13, both of the indoor skate parks closed at the same year.
Oh, yeah.
And that was right around when high school was starting and stuff like that. And that's when I started learning how to street skate. And I have 2 really good friends, Weston and Tate, and we all lived in the neighborhood together.
Sick.
And we would skate in my driveway, or skate in Tate's driveway, or skate in Weston's driveway outside of the street. We had like a little rail and like some boxes. And then I started learning so much more. Like my street skating expanded.
Amazing.
And I became a lot more well-rounded. But my body started changing a lot too. You know, I started getting a lot taller, less flexible.
Sure.
Started doing less vert skating and more getting into being a more well-rounded skater.
Sure.
And I tried to get sponsored by a bunch of people when I was a kid. Like I sent out all these videos to different companies and stuff. Like I went through the mag and like sent out these videos.
That's sick.
And it didn't really turn out super well.
So what was the response? Or
the response was a lot of times like, "Oh, we don't like sponsor little kids like that."
Okay.
And
wait, so how old are you at this point?
When I sent out the sponsor me tapes, I was probably like 12.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So only certain kind of like termite skateboards or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like Element, they have like a kids
know.
thing.
One thing that's super sick
Maybe it was just back then.
is when I was in 4th grade, Jeff sent a photo of me doing a frontside air to Thrasher.
Oh, sick.
And Thrasher used to have this thing called Stoke of the Week on their website.
Yeah.
Where they would put a photo, an amateur photo, on their website every week. It was a new photo. And they would put the Thrasher font on it.
Yeah.
And when I was in 4th grade, I got called down to the principal's office super randomly. And I came down to the principal's office, and the principal of my elementary school had Thrasher homepage up on his
Get
desktop.
out of here. That's so
and he was
sick.
like, "You're on Thrasher." And I was like, he was like, "This is sick, you're on Thrasher." And I'm like,
Fuck yeah.
"No way."
How cool is your principal's fucking into that? Bro, my principal was like the opposite.
I think my mom called it. Yeah. No, my principal was just like at work looking at Thrasher. No, I think my mom called him and was like, "You gotta tell Hans."
Yeah.
And then I just went back to class, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm on Thrasher."
That's fucking awesome.
So there's this photo of me doing this frontside air.
I love it.
It's super funny.
That's so fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I'll show it to you sometime.
Yeah, please
And
do.
yeah, so it all,
Those are the moments in life where you're just like so proud, you know?
So
like,
proud.
Everybody's proud of you. You're proud of yourself. Like that's what you live for, you know? It's just like, it's not really like so much the recognition. It's more like the accomplishment, you know? Like, fuck yeah, dude. All that hard work, you know?
yeah, man. Little legend status, So pre-college, it was like a whole skate career in itself that I can look back on. It's well documented. They got tons of clips and photos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that. But then when I was 18, right before I went to college, I sprained my ankle really bad.
Oh, no.
And then I moved, I ended up moving to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. I went to the University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay, right.
The reason I went there is because there's tons of people from Lake Owen Camp who are from the Twin Cities scene. So I went and toured the school out there, and I met up with the skaters, and they brought me around street skating in Minneapolis. And I was like, I gotta go to school here.
Fuck yeah. I would too. Like, this is the shit.
Yeah.
Did the campus have some spots too? I mean, did you
Dude, like, the campus
There's always six
is
spots at
one of the
campuses.
sickest campuses to skate,
Yeah.
maybe in the world. Not that I've skated them all, but so good. Downtown Minneapolis, so legendary. Like, in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, that's a level.
That's right. They have a level. Yeah,
It's
you're right.
downtown
Minneapolis. That's a sick level too.
And the skate scene, for those who don't know, skate scene in the Twin Cities is so good.
Yeah. Okay.
So good.
Yeah. I know the underground rap scene is sick out there too, because I was a fan of Atmosphere for a while.
Oh yeah.
And they got like all these like underground rappers out there that are like really well known and all that.
Oh man,
Blessing.
Twin Cities is amazing. And I went to school there, and I studied environmental education.
Cool.
Because when I was, coming of age, I started watching all these documentaries, like nature documentaries about how the planet's dying and now the economy's messed up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Right.
I'm gonna go learn environmental science and work on this issue and stuff like that. So then I started branching off into, new friends, partying a lot, activism, learning.
Love that.
Loved college, but then I really got into street skating and creative skating.
Yeah.
So then it was like getting out in the streets with my goofy friends. I love you guys so much. And just getting weird in the streets, man.
Shout out Minneapolis, Twin Cities.
And that really opened up my creative side in skating when I started just like doing weird no complies and wallies, and a lot developed from that. And it was a more humble time in my skate life.
Why do you?
Because I wasn't like filming quite as much and like doing. Yeah, again, my skating was changing. I was becoming more of a creative
evolving
skater.
a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Taking what you learned from the ramps, applying it to the streets. Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of like getting creative with shit.
Exactly.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, how did you guys like film videos or like do projects? Like, what happened there?
Yeah. So I've got a few different parts from that time, and some of them were made by my dear friend Falco.
Okay.
So I met Falco at Lake Owen Camp when I was 8 years old, and he was my instructor.
Oh yeah.
And then as I got older, we stayed in touch, and he rides for this skate company called Santa Fe Skateboards.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he's also part of that.
Yes.
Awesome.
So he put me on Flow back then.
Love that.
And he would make these videos. One was called Just for Fun, and I had a little part in that. And the next one was called Now We're Serious.
The perfect evolution.
And I had a little part in that. And he invited me to come out and coach at an action sports camp every summer when I was in college, which was called Ohio Dreams.
Okay.
So Ohio Dreams was this little action sports camp in Ohio
Sick.
that had a cool skate program, but they also had like BMX racing, and like they even had a water ramp for skiers.
Whoa. Hell yeah.
And so
Why
again,
not?
like skate camp.
The most fun you've ever had, probably, right? Like
Skate camp again.
It's the best thing ever, man.
And I had little parts from that.
Cool.
And then my friend Shane Brown, shout out Shane Brown, when I was a senior in college, we started filming on his VX, and we made an all-night skate video called Dexterity in the Dark.
Ooh.
And so I've got an all-night street part in Minneapolis and St. Paul.
That's amazing.
And that's like really goofy. We like made the music.
Corey, you gotta send me these links.
Oh, dude, I've got
stuff.
so many parts and
For
videos
sure.
and stuff. Yeah.
Do you have a YouTube channel, or is it like on Santa Fe?
Some of my parts are on my YouTube channel. Some of them are on others.
Okay.
But yeah, if you
Cool.
search, like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of good parts out there.
All right, I'll try to find them and put the links in the description on YouTube. You guys.
Oh
can
yeah, watch my
enjoy that
parts.
stuff. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's so cool, like for you, but I think it's also amazing for other people to see the evolution of somebody and throughout their like 20 plus years. You know, like how you go from one thing to another, and then they kind of grow out of that, and then you started traveling eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, so after college, I went on this big road trip backpacking across the United States with my friends, and it was so fun.
Sick.
My first real job after college, I was a wilderness therapy guide.
Oh, okay.
So that, like, for those who don't know about wilderness therapy, it's like do you know about wilderness therapy?
Well, it sounds like a meditative thing. You got nature and you relax, I'm assuming, but I'm
That's
curious.
nature therapy.
Okay. Wilderness is like gnarlier. I've been in the wilderness. It's fucking gnarly.
That's nature therapy. That's a
True.
whole different thing.
Okay. I feel,
Yeah. Wilderness therapy is part of the troubled teen industry. So we're parents who are like, what do I do with my out of control teenager?
right.
And it's a serious intervention for teens who are at risk of like harming themselves or others or addiction.
Sure.
Or court ordered to go to a therapeutic intervention. And as a wilderness therapy guide, I'm like an also troubled young adult who becomes their caregiver while they live in the woods for an average stay of about 3 months. And there's no buildings. We're just
Wait, how long?
backpacking. They live in the woods for like 3 months
3
with no
months?
buildings or anything. And they get sent there against their will.
Bro, that's amazing.
So usually
This has got to be the best thing.
they don't have a choice. They get forced to go there.
Right.
And that means that if you are taking care of kids in the woods, you have to hold serious boundaries.
Sure.
So if someone tries to like run away
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
or fight somebody and there's no one else around
Right.
except me, my co-guide, and these kids, like you have to physically restrain kids.
Sure.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I did this for about 8 months working in the woods, and it burnt me out.
Yeah,
it really
right.
burnt me out.
Yeah, because some of these kids are really messed up, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just like dealing with other people's
Traumatized.
trauma.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would get physically injured from like kids
Yeah.
like biting me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Like-
oh.
But it was beautiful. Like I learned so
It is
much.
beautiful out there, though.
I learned so much about myself and conflict, dealing with conflict, communicating
Sure.
emotions. So much deep work comes out of it, and those programs, they're good for some people and they're not good for others.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Like some people get a lot out of it, and some people it's like a horror story.
Yeah.
So it's not a perfect program,
For sure.
but that's how I ended up moving to Hawaii,
Whoa.
because I found out about there's a therapy program for teens and young adults on the Big Island of Hawaii. And it's more of a horticulture program. So it's like you chill, you eat fruit, right? And so I ended up moving to Hawaii in January of 2020.
Oh, my God. Amazing.
And that was like the best year for skating maybe ever for me. Was 2020 on the Big Island of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Shout out Oasis Skate Shop.
Yeah.
Which, before I go into it, shout out Surf and Bird Skate Shop in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Sick.
I owe a lot to them.
Yeah.
Moved to Hawaii, working at this therapy program, living in a van outside of my ex-partner's house, and COVID hits. The program closes.
Right.
We get laid off, and I just started skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the spots out there are sick. Like drainage spots, cool DIYs, good skate parks.
Yeah.
Really cool spots, really cool skate scene on the Big Island, really good skaters.
Yeah, I bet.
And I filmed a part that year that was like, it's one of my favorite parts I've ever filmed. My Big Island, Hawaii part.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Made some good friends. Like, that was a good year.
Hell yeah. Amazing. Yeah, Hawaii is an amazing place, yeah.
Have you ever been?
When I was like 4, I haven't been back though, you know? I want to go again, but you know.
Dude, go to Big Island.
For sure.
Link up with the Oasis Skate Shop.
Okay.
Homies.
All right, Oasis,
See you
I'm
out
coming.
there.
I'm going to see you guys soon.
We're coming back to the island, bro. I've been trying to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years since I've been back.
Sounds like an amazing place.
It was a really good year, but I had a really weird experience leaving Hawaii, which is a whole story, man. And it's worth going into.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So in December of 2020, I got really sick, and I thought I had COVID, and I self-quarantined for like 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, I was still super sick, and so I went to the hospital, and the hospital wasn't really sure what was wrong with me, so they admitted me, and they gave me a CAT scan and some blood work and stuff, and I woke up the next morning, and the doctor was like, hey, we looked at your CAT scan, you've got swollen lymph nodes all over your body, and I think that you have lymphoma.
Oh no.
And I was like, lymphoma? And he's like, yeah, that's like cancer in your lymph nodes, right?
Dude.
And he's like, you're young, low mortality rate, you're gonna have to get chemo. It's like, go back to the US, to the mainland US and get better medical care. And so I called my parents and I was like, I have lymphoma. And we were freaking out and I was like crying. And he comes in the next morning and he said, you tested positive for HIV.
Oh my God.
And I was like, HIV? And he's like, yeah, like, so you either have HIV or lymphoma or both. And I was so shook. I was like crying. I had to like call a couple people and be like, yo, you like should get tested for HIV. And it was super weird, man. So I was in the hospital for like 3 nights and I left, sold my car for super cheap, like said peace out to all my homies, and just went back to the United States and started taking HIV medicine and stuff. But eventually they realized that I just had a really bad case of mononucleosis, which is Epstein-Barr virus. And it's like, yeah, one of those viruses, it like, you get it and it kind of lives within you for a long time. So I'm not really sure like when I contracted it or whatever, but it hit me super hard and I was sick for like a couple months.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, but is it life-threatening as well, or?
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit me really hard.
Fuck.
Yeah. But the worst part about it was that I got super depressed because I ended up back in my parents' basement all of a sudden in winter in Wisconsin.
Fuck that.
And I was crazy depressed, man. Like
health issues are gonna fuck you up. All right, guys, welcome back. Look, I kind of fucked up. All right, I left the camera in the sun recording the podcast, and camera overheated. Podcast was fucked after 40 minutes, sadly, because we talked for like another half hour past that.
And we had a great conversation.
I was so bummed at first, man, but you know, both of us kind of realized like we're positive, optimistic, good-looking people.
Yeah.
Handsome.
And we're just going to move forward naturally, as authentically as possible, knowing that we already went through the, you know, my whole story, however I wanted to say it at that time.
So we're
just gonna move forward. Like, you know, it happens. It happens.
Shit happens, bro.
And we're back. And if you listen to that whole thing to this point, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Bless your soul.
You fucking rock.
You're amazing. And thank you. Thank you for witnessing us here as we have this conversation.
And I want to say thank you to all of Han's family and friends, because I think most likely they're the people that are going to be listening to the whole thing.
Shout out to my mom.
Much love, you guys.
Shout out to my mom. It is Kiwi Bremhorst's birthday. It's my mom's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
One thing I may not have stressed enough in the first interview. Is this an interview or what? In the first section, my mom held it down for me so hard in skating. Like, I had a skate mom.
That's right.
And I still have a skate mom. And she brought me to the skate park. She brought me to contests. She brought me all over places and supported my skating. And I really owe so much of my skate life to my mom, Kiwi Bremhorst. Shout out to Kiwi.
Cheers, Mom.
May you be blessed.
Heck yeah.
It is her birthday today. And I just had a nice chat with her.
That's awesome.
And yeah, truly she's a legend. And people back in Appleton, where I'm from, know it. She helped coordinate the creation of a skate park in our hometown of Appleton.
Wow.
Because I don't know if I mentioned, when I was 13, the 2 indoor skate parks closed. And so we didn't have a public park in Appleton. And my mom started like coordinating around it and fundraising and stuff. And getting people together, going to city council meetings, bringing us to the city council meetings, making shirts and stuff like that. And now we have a really nice skate park in our hometown. And everyone who knows Kiwi Bremhorst is the one
I love
to blame for that.
To blame.
No, it's a super popular park.
That's amazing.
People back in Appleton know.
I love that, man. Supportive parents and skateboarding's got to be the best thing. Really.
Dude, yeah, and she didn't like push me. She was always just like, "Oh, there's a contest. You want to go? Like, I'll drive you there. Let's go." And bring me to places. Like, she doesn't know about skating. She was like, "You gotta learn. You gotta go higher, faster."
like Jason.
Faster, higher.
Jason's funny. I was going to say something a little bit mean right now, but I'm not going to, because I'm a nice person, man.
And you don't backtail that deep end right now.
I love that guy. Shout out Jason, if you guys don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So where were we? You were talking about, you were in Hawaii, and you got sick. And this is beginning of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Let's kind of like recap, I think, the last part.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, I got sick, and then I got depressed, and I'm back in Appleton, and I'm going through this whole journey, learning how to take care of myself, going to therapy, living with my friends. Shout out Weston and Nico and Thomas. That was a great apartment we had back in the day. We were paying like $250 a month, just like super cheap, living in this little apartment. And it was a good time to be alive, and I was going through it at the time. And I went on this canoe trip. Me and some of the, my best friends, we went on this canoe trip in the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota, where they've got this amazing chain of lakes. Do you know about the Boundary Waters?
I haven't been there, and I didn't know about it. So,
dude, the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. If you ever want an amazing backpacking trip, you get a permit and you go. You can rent a canoe and stuff, and you put your backpacks in the canoe. And instead of like hiking, you canoe across lakes, and then you get out and you portage the canoe, and then you're out there. The way that water exists out there is so cool. So much water.
Yeah.
And we were there, and we were tripping on mushrooms, and I was laying there. My friends were off somewhere else, and I was laying on the ground looking up at the sky, and I was like, dude, I just went through this whole experience of feeling like I didn't even want to live anymore, like that life was done for me, that I just like came out of this. I don't even know what to do with my life anymore. I feel like I just went through this major shift, and I wasn't sure what to do, like wasn't sure how to move forward. And then I realized that as a kid, I wanted to be a pro skater. And I was like, finally, I have full permission to just pursue skating. And it was this amazing shift, because I always wanted to like really just like let skating be my compass in a way. And I finally gave myself full permission to do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to be pro. I'm going to try to go film clips, get clips, go skate, and like let skating be my North Star for now, because I didn't know where else to turn. I wasn't like really on a spiritual path at that point, or I was just like, what do I even do now? And skating was going really well. Like, I filmed a lot of clips in Hawaii, was getting clips that summer. And so I just decided I was going to try to be a pro skater. And so I went up to my friends and I was like, yo guys, I just decided I'm going to try to be a pro skater. And they all celebrated me, and they were like, that's great.
Right.
And then a month later, my sponsor, Santa Fe Skateboards, gave me a call and was like, yo, we want to give you a pro model. And I was like, that's amazing, because I just decided I wanted to be a pro skater. So Santa Fe is a small company out of San Diego, and they've been around for 20 years or more. But they're just a small little company that I am blessed to skate for.
Crazy timing on that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
And then, yeah, man.
How did you get connected with them in the first place?
Yeah, so if I didn't
friends?
mention it before,
Yeah, I think you did.
when I went to Lake Owen Camp, one of my instructors, his name is Falco Baltes. Shout out to Falco. You're the man, and I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. He was my skate instructor, and he's pro for Santa Fe, and he's been pro for a long time. And so he was my skate instructor. I was in touch with him, and then I've just been in touch with him through the years. I've been coaching with him at other camps, Ohio Dreams Action Sports Camp, if I didn't mention them before. So it's through relationships, and that's the thing about sponsors and skating. It's all about relationships, because there's so many people out there who are so good and deserve
For sure.
money and
Support.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's just relationships, and that's the thing. Like, relationships are everything, man. Like, we were talking about skating and like getting hyped up with skating. Like, I skate so much better when there's other people around stoking me up and like in that relationship, you know?
Sure.
So it's like, I want to bring gratitude. We were talking about this. Like, I'm so grateful for the people that I have come in contact with through skating.
Yeah.
Like, that, I cannot stress enough how magical it is to be in touch with you, in touch with all the people I've met here and all the people I've met in my life that have come into my sphere of relationships that have made me who I am. And so that's the thing. Going to the skate camp as a kid, mom bringing me around, ended up getting, sponsored and having the opportunity to have a pro board. And that's what it means to me, is that I've been blessed to just have amazing people in my life.
What happened after that? You're going on trips with them and stuff and filming?
Yeah, so
parts?
I was looking for a new, something new to do, because I didn't want to stay in Wisconsin for the winter. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this pro model. I want to do skating. Like, I don't want to stay in my hometown in the winter. It's not the move.
Yeah.
Plus, it's tough mentally. And so one of the guys on the Santa Fe team, shout out Brian Gennaro, I love you so much, bro, if you're listening. I didn't know him at the time, but he was working at Woodward in Park City, Utah. So I messaged him and I said, bro, I see you work at Woodward in Park City, Utah. Like, I would love to come out there. And so he said, yeah, man, if you want, come crash on my couch, come on out. And so I got a job as a ski and snowboard coach, and I drove out to Utah and I crashed on his couch and ended up moving in with him and working at Woodward. And then that spring, our pro models came out. Falco drove them out from San Diego. Woodward bought a bunch of them. We were selling them at Woodward. We had like a board release party, and then I was coaching skating full time. And you actually make $1 more at Woodward for having your name on a board. So I was like making more because I was technically pro. Didn't have to wear a helmet at Woodward, getting like the perks of that. And then doing skate lessons, selling the boards, like getting a little bit of money from that. And it's like, yes, dude, I'm a pro skater now.
Yeah.
I did it. It's like 1 year later, I was like, I just manifested the shit out of that.
Dreams accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? It's like I've reached nirvana, man. Ultimate happiness, peace.
Well, that's the thing. It's not, it's just, it's not. And there's like a whole head trip that comes with it. This like, this whole being pro thing, right? It's comparisons. Is it ever enough? Am I ever good enough? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And so I take it lightly. And I try to take it with like, you know, like it's chill. It's not like a big deal, you know?
I think honestly when we're younger, labels like matter a lot more than when you are older, right?
Yeah.
Like you age a lot and it doesn't seem to like matter so much. Maybe for some people it still does, but I think like being pro is just sort of one of these things you look at when you're young is like, oh my God, it's this amazing mountain to climb. And once you climb to the top of that mountain, you're like, oh, okay, well, here we are. Like, you know, what's next? That's just like human nature, right?
Exactly. I feel like the more weight I put into that pro thing and the more attached I am to that idea and that identity, the worse it feels, you know? But when I just try to take it lightly and be humble, like, I feel so much better because then I don't have to try to be something that I'm not.
Sure,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
If I'm not being authentic, then that's when it goes wrong, you know?
We were talking about this the other day when you go to a skate session and you go there thinking, I'm going to do all this crazy shit. Like it happens to me all the time where I'm like rolling up, the last session I had a great time, crazy tricks, on the edge of learning a new trick or something. And then I go to the next session, I'm thinking I'm going to pick up where I left off. And for whatever reason, maybe I'm just so tired from the last day, but everything just falls apart, nothing works, and immediately so humbled by skateboarding.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
being pro, like, I guess it's got to be like challenging to like deal with that, right? Because I mean, you have to maintain, you know, an image, right? Obviously, and that goes beyond skateboarding. It's also like how you act and all that around your fans and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be able to like maintain a good balance in life and probably like eat a good diet, you know, maintain a good mood, like especially when tough things happen, or like maybe you're at a park and some kid slips out or gets in your way or something, you know, you're just like upset for a moment. But as a professional, right, you gotta be cool, you know, like because you know, professionals that aren't cool, some people are just gonna end up being like, oh yeah, that guy's a douche, you know, but like you don't want to be that guy, right? So
yes,
yeah, for sure.
And this makes me think of several things, but one of them is that sometimes I feel like being a good skater is only partially about skating and partially about how you conduct yourself and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And are you willing to do all these other things surrounding skating, like whether it's filming, taking care of yourself, your attitude, mentality, emotional regulation, outlook on life. You know, these things are all part of what makes a good skater, in my opinion. And
it matters what other people say about you too, right? So it's like, you got to try your best to conduct yourself well around everybody you come in contact with. You know, if you have a moment, then all of a sudden somebody's gonna like not like you for whatever reason, and maybe that's on them too. It might not even really be about you, maybe it's more about them. But regardless of that, you know, when you're around other people talking to somebody about somebody else and they say something bad about them, all of a sudden there's like this air of like, well, that's weird, what happened, you know what I mean? Let's investigate that. Like, so it's always good to just like try your best to be a good person, right? In most situations. I know when I was younger, I was like, you know, I'd be like more shy, not really talk so much. So people thought like I was like maybe arrogant or something like that, or I thought it was too cool. But in reality, I was just like kind of shy to talk to people, you know? So that's another thing. You got to be open and willing to like meet new people and be like friendly and shit, right?
Yeah. And like that makes me think about you and what you're doing. You know, and you're trying to be of service to your community. Think about, you know, all the people who have put in so much work, like building DIYs, opening skate shops that don't make money, or skate parks, and
true.
Like there's such a labor of love, and I feel like that shines through people and makes a more lasting impact than maybe the tricks that you did.
Right, yeah. Everybody's going to judge you when they first see you based on your tricks. Like when you roll up to a skate park and you don't know anybody, like they're just going to be like, oh, who's this guy? And then you do an amazing trick, all of a sudden instant respect, instant appreciation, right?
Yeah.
But if you just roll up and sit there for a while, people are like, who are you? So, you know, it matters a lot to like say hi to people and just say what's up, you know, and be friendly before probably you start skating, right? Because then it's, especially if it's like, you know, it depends on the situation, right? But like if it's like a skate park and it's like a locals crew there, and like you roll up and you don't say hi and just start doing crazy shit, everybody's like, ugh. But you roll up and say what's up and then start doing crazy shit, everybody's like celebrating, you know? So it's funny how that works. Again, human nature, right?
Yeah.
I've encountered all different types of situations in skateboarding, especially traveling. Like you got your hometown skate park, but then you start traveling, right? And you're in like new places. It just depends on like who you go to the park with. If you're with your crew or by yourself, it's totally different feel. If you go to the park with a crew, everybody's like, oh shit, the crew's here, what's up, you know? Like, and everybody's saying hi. It's kind of easier to like say hi to people, but if you're alone, it's like a little bit more like intimidating to say hi to people if you don't know them, but maybe not.
Yeah.
It depends on the person, right?
I deal with that. I deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
Like the social anxiety and
basically.
Yeah, I love when I connect with other skaters and feel that sense of communion with them. And I think that in order to get that and feel connected, it's good to think about how can I give that to others? Like how can I be that person who's like having a positive impact on the kid at the skate park? You know, I have to catch myself with this all the time because sometimes I'm really selfish about how I'm behaving at the skate park. But if I can give like a positive affirmation to someone or lift someone up, then I get that, like, I feel like those warm fuzzies, you know? Yeah. And I got a lot of that as a kid, and it's cool now to be in a position, you know, and especially when I was working at Woodward, I had to keep this in mind a lot. Like, I'm in an opportunity now to give this back. Yeah. Not the tricks, but the stoke.
Yeah, the stoke, the energy, right?
You know, Woodward, like, my journey at Woodward was really cool because, and yes, Woodward has, you know, Woodward is corporately owned, and Woodward is expensive, and Woodward isn't perfect. But Woodward is still based on this fundamental stoke of like passing along that stoke and that legacy that I still felt there, you know, that I was a part of this passing along of generations of stoke. Definitely. You know,
because kids have so much energy too, just naturally, especially the ones that are skating. They're always just like, yeah, what's up, man? That's sick. You know what I mean? Like, you always encounter that. But then there's like ever so often the reserved kid that's very shy and like introverted. So it's like, those are specific, like, especially those kids, you gotta like give them more stoke than the other ones, you know, to make them feel comfortable, to lift them up a little bit. But the ones that are already there energetically, it's like, keep that going. Like, you know.
I've been really impressed with like the coaching that I see going on. Like, there's a lot of coaching going on here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of coaching going on back where, you know, in Australia that I've been seeing. And yeah, it's interesting. There's so much more of a coaching culture in skating than there ever was before.
That's great, man. I love it. Especially out here. There's so many kids. There's a lot of girls and like, you know, very young, 4, 5, 6 years old. And they're just killing it, man. And like, even they're not like being paid to coach. These guys and women are like helping these kids out, you know? It's just like lifting the community, the future of the community up, you know, which is really important. And just the scene in general, I think, you know, it builds the business for sure, but it also like builds the community. It's such a great thing, you know? Kids really are the future. They always will be, right?
Yeah. And by the time I left Woodward, I do really felt, I had this feeling like, wow, I made a difference in a lot of people's lives. Like the kids, the community. How cool is it to actually have a job where I'm in community with the people going there and the staff around action sports? And it's like, yeah, I was forming relationships with people, you know, and so I'm so grateful for that time, you know, when I was working at Woodward, having that, that was like the ultimate validation of that pro experience, you know, because there's like a lot of other pros around. My board was up there on the wall next to Ryan Sheckler's board, you know, and like, so it's really cool that I had that time at Woodward, and I'm so grateful for that. And then eventually I decided I wanted to move on and have some new international experiences as part of my growth in life, you know, as part of my self-development. Because I started getting I started like really seeing that I needed to continue to work on myself. And that's when I decided to get fully sober and started doing 12 steps, you know, like 12 steps for people who don't know is like AA, NA, like Alcoholics Anonymous, but there's also other forms of 12-step programs that aren't just about being sober. Started working on that, and I got introduced to Bhakti Yoga, right? So I had an ex-partner who introduced me to Bhakti Yoga, and I want to share about it because it's like an important part of my life right now.
Sure.
So Bhakti Yoga, right? It's the devotional yoga of love. You know, it's the goal of yoga is to connect with the Supreme, right? Whether you want to call it God, the universe, Krishna, you know, we say in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna, right? So a lot of it's based on the chanting of the Maha Mantra, which is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, right? So it's an ancient practice that, you know, we're fortunate to have access to in the West these days. And my ex-partner introduced me to it, and I just felt like it was something that was going to help me move like deepen into spiritual life, because like we were talking about, yeah, you reach a goal, you reach another goal, you reach another goal, but it's endless, you know, and everything in this world like is temporary, and we're seeking happiness in all these temporary things, you know.
Going back to climbing the mountain, you know, as soon as you get to the top, there's a whole nother mountain to climb, or maybe you're just tired of climbing mountains and you go chill in the valley for a while. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to stay up there too long. It's always like this ebb and flow, right? You get a new trick, and then you kind of like regress a little bit, and you come back to that, and then you do other tricks. Like, that's skateboarding, right?
Yeah, man. And that's where I feel like that spiritual life comes in, you know, is to learn how to navigate in this world full of temporary things.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wanted, you know, I've always felt like I wanted to be a spiritual person, but I didn't really know how. It's like there's all these different things out there, you know, there's yoga, there's, you know, all sorts of healing modalities, there's, you know, the whole new age scene. But having like a specific thing that I could sink my teeth into felt good, because then I felt like I could actually make progress. So
I'm curious, was there any kind of like inspirational or person that inspired you to start traveling, or was it the same partner that got you, you know, into the yoga practice?
Yeah, actually, I started meeting people at Woodward who had been traveling.
Okay. And talking about it. And
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, and actually that makes
stories.
Gotcha. Specifically, I had met people who have done working holiday visas in New Zealand and Australia.
Ah, okay.
And then people who have just traveled around in Asia and stuff like that. Like, I think about my friend Becca, actually. Shout out Becca.
Shout out Becca.
But yeah, she's been to like, yeah. I met her at Woodward, but yeah, she's been to New Zealand and been to Asia and stuff, and had a bunch of international experiences, and I was like, yeah, like, I want to do that.
Sick.
And I've always wanted to do that.
Got the imagination going, yeah.
Yeah. And I knew also as like part of my growth, you know, to get out of my comfort zone and like go traveling. So
right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I identified this yoga teacher training in India that I wanted to do.
Cool.
And so in September of 2024, I went to India, did a yoga teacher training. So crazy, like going to India. India's mad. India's foreign.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much. There's a sick skate park in Mumbai. There's a bunch of skate parks in Mumbai. But the scene there is actually really good. Shout out to the skaters in Mumbai. So I did my yoga teacher training, and then I met up with some friends. I went to Japan and went to Thailand. And then before it was over, I wanted to go back to India. So I went back to India. I went to this holy city called Mayapur on the bank of the Ganges in West Bengal. And I got there, and on my first day, that's when I met some of the yogis who live in Nimbin, Australia, where I live now.
Cool.
So I met them in Nimbin, in India, and they told me about their ashram in Australia. And now I had realized, I was like, dude, living in an ashram would be a really cool experience. Like something that I was feeling called towards. Like I would love to have that experience. And as soon as I had decided that I wanted that experience, and that like the people came into my life. And
That's awesome. I love that.
yeah, and then I went back to the US and I was like, what do I do now? And I just knew, I was like, I'm going to Australia. I'm going to Nimbin, Australia, living in the ashram.
Yeah.
And I'm there now. I was there for the last 3 months. And then I came here to Bali to get my work visa, which I got. And I'm going back tonight to Australia, back to Nimbin. Shout out Bhakti Field Ashram. If you guys are listening, love y'all. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Bol.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that you hit me up, man. You know, that's really, it means a lot. Like I've been out here for a while, and I'm just so happy to like get people writing me on Instagram like, yo, I'm coming to Bali, I want to check it out, let's meet up and link up and do some shit. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, you don't know how happy that makes me. Just like excited to like hang out here, you know?
Dude, and I really appreciate you. Like, I was talking to my mom earlier today, and I was like, yeah, I met this guy Trevor, and I consider you a friend.
Dude,
I really like you. And I consider you a friend, and I'm like also so glad that we met too.
Yeah.
And yeah, if anyone's listening, hit up Trevor.
Yeah, if you want to come out to Bali and hang out, film some clips, sit down, talk about your story, whatever, man, I'm down. I love to connect.
This is so cool. I've never been on a podcast before.
Rad.
And now I'm on a podcast. And it's kind of weird listening back. Like, we were listening to that other part, and I was like, man, I'm like talking so slow in my voice. Like,
well, it's funny in podcasting because it ebbs and flows like life, you know? Like, you got the crazy parts, and you got like the kind of slow parts, and then you got like, and it gets exciting again, and make something funny, you know? Anyway, podcasting is fun though, you know. I don't try to structure it too much. I just try to talk about story and kind of talk about the topics in between.
Yeah.
It's like a natural conversation, you know.
Supernatural.
Yeah. So what's your plans moving forward? Just going, enjoying the yoga life, skating a bit, and filming some videos.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so I'm going back to Australia. And my intention is to stay there for a year.
Sick.
And specifically, I'm wanting to deepen into this practice of bhakti yoga. And it really helps having a good community there of people that I like being around. And it really helps that there's a skate park right there near the ashram. It really helps. It's in a great town. And so part of what I've realized living there is like that experience of living in the ashram is meant for that cultivation of spiritual life. And part of the reason I'm doing that is because it not only is it kind of the goal of life, in my opinion, is that spiritual growth, but it helps me live my life. You know, if I can develop healthy habits and sort of a spiritually minded way of living, that helps me move forward, and it helps me live my life. You know, I've struggled with mental health a lot, struggled with addiction, and having that grounding with Creator, with Krishna, that helps me to be me. It helps me to be it's natural. It helps me to feel natural, you know, because I'm. So I'm using this time in my life to cultivate myself, to work on myself, because I want to be a more helpful person. I want to be a more grounded person. And so, yeah, I'm still just working on me, just being a better me. And then I'm going to go back to the United States, and who knows what. I feel like I can only plan one year at a time.
Yeah.
So
you have like overall ideas or maybe projects, but everything in between is to sort of go with the flow.
Yeah.
You seem like a very go with the flow kind of person. You know, you're just like meeting people, positivity, see where that takes you, you know? I think it's the best way to live life now.
Yeah. And I feel like I have to be. Because like I was saying, everything's temporary. And there's this one funny saying, you know, if you want to make God laugh, make plans.
Right?
Because like everything can change.
Bro, every time I make a freaking plan, everything changes, falls apart, whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe the last 3 freaking trips I planned, like, didn't work out. And I just had to eat the costs because it was non-refundable. Like, it just is what it is. Life, like, throws you weird things sometimes, and just, you know, have a light heart about it, right? It's fine. It's all good. Let it go. Money is temporary, and you can't take money with you to the grave. What you can take with you is love, right?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what bhakti is. Love. Love is the most important thing. And that's what, you know, that's what Krishna is. That's what God, the universe, underneath all of it is just, it's love. Yeah. It's divine love. And everything else is an illusion, really.
Exactly. We live in a matrix, man. I always question myself whether dreaming is the reality and our life is the matrix, or whether, you know, what is it? Is death reality and this is the...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows, right?
Well, yeah, that's what we say, actually, you know, that this life, this material existence, it is like a matrix. It is like the matrix. And that our, you know, we say, yeah, that we have a soul. And that soul is eternal and blissful and seeking the truth. You know, we're meant to be blissful. It's actually our nature is to be blissful, not to be sad, not to be, you know, these emotions flow through us.
True.
But when we're identified completely with a temporary material circumstance in this world where everything's dying, everything's changing, everything's getting sick, it's like there is no peace. There can be no peace, you know, if we're completely just identified with like, this, what I see, this is all there is. I mean, this is great, but it's like, it's temporary and material, so.
You know what trips me out the most, I think, is sleep. Sleeping is just the craziest thing, because we need to sleep, right? Like, as humans, you absolutely cannot survive without sleep. Maybe 2-3 days at the most before you're just completely... And people that, like, get tortured sometimes, they're in, like, these torture chambers that where it's just, like, light and sound, and they make it so they can't sleep. And it's, like, the worst torture possible. Like, but what is it about sleep? Like, where does sleep really take you? It takes you into, like, a whole nother existence, right? The dream state is just, it's wild. Like,
the dream state is so wild.
Isn't it though? Like, I woke up this morning and realized these dreams I had last night. I'm like, what? None of it makes sense in this reality, but in that reality, it did. All of it made complete sense. And there was some, like, conflict and other stuff of, like, discovery and searching, and there was just weird, like, you know, themes throughout the dream. But yeah, when I woke up, I was like, wow. It's like a whole nother existence that you live when you fall asleep, you know? And, like, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't know if I'll ever figure it out, because like, it's very rare to be able to be in a dream and, like, be conscious, you know? Like, think, like, oh, I'm in a dream right now. I've done it, it's happened to me a couple of times, where you're, like, sort of in that in-between state. But what, you know, what is that? I think, honestly, in my feelings, I think it's closer to source than what we live here. Like, when you're in your dream state, you're much, like, your brain is very relaxed, so you have this, like, deeper connection, I think, to the universe. So, like, you know, our third eye and all that, like, it kind of just, like, opens up. And that's where you get all these ideas. Like, people, when they get these magical, amazing ideas, they're usually in a very relaxed state of mind. When you're skating and you're landing a trick, you're very relaxed. You're not, like, tensed up thinking about it too much. You almost, like, black out sometimes, right? But that blackout is, like, this Om state where you're, like, close to the zero sense, where you're just, like, tunnel vision, mind is relaxed, connection to, like, the ether, and then boom, you get it. It just, like, you, like, connect into that shit.
Yeah.
Like, turn the connection on to the universe.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Yeah, because this life is like a dream.
I guess that's what meditation's all about, right?
It feels so solid. It feels so permanent and stable, you know? But we could die, like, some shit could happen and we could just both die, like, right now.
Right.
And then that's, like, the end of this
this
material
body, yeah.
existence.
Yeah.
And this version of my like ego and consciousness, like it's so shifting. It's like shifting sand. It's like trying to like hold water in our hands, you know?
Yeah.
And we're like so attached to it, holding on. That's crazy, yeah, because when we sleep, we kind of just like let go. And then that's what, death is crazy because we have to let go of like everything that we are.
Right. I think the brain is just like this crazy thing, you know, like they're still studying the brain. I mean, you know, all the little neurons in there and the little connections and stuff, and like the way things reconnect and disconnect, and the way you form new memories and like forget old ones, and just, yeah, in general, memory is like a crazy thing. But our brain is what makes you know, it's where everything's stored, our identity of ourselves, our perception of the world around us, like. And like, yeah, I think meditation is like this sort of like calming yourself down and like kind of going into dream state a little bit, but being awake. And so you get to this like really relaxed point. Because, you know, sometimes you're trying to trick really hard, right? And like you just, too much, you know, falling. You like relax, take a break, 20 minutes, whatever. You kind of just, because after exercise, you're very calm. And then all of a sudden you get relaxed and boom, you can do it. I saw it the other night. This dude, Cody, was out here trying the kickflip indie. He must have tried like probably over 50 times, probably more. And then he just like, yo, we're gonna take a break real quick. He's a very cool dude. Like he knows like when to take a break and shit. And then, yeah, I came back, filmed him maybe half hour later, and like maybe first or second try he did it. That's just how it goes, man.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're talking about meditation, it's like the observer behind the observer. And it's like, are we our mind? Are we our body? Are we just the mind and the body? They say that the soul is like observing the play. Like the soul isn't the mind. It's not the body, it's observing. It's like, I'm over here thinking like, I am my thoughts. I am what's happening in my mind. But that's not what we're told, you know, in the practice of yoga. That there, you know, the true identity is this observer behind all of it, which we call the soul. But all these words that we use, like the word love, the word God, like they're all words, you know, that can't fully describe like the real situation. So the felt experience, the feeling of when if you connect in meditation, like you feel that there's this presence, like that's the only way to really get in touch with this stuff, like this philosophy. It's through a feeling.
True.
And it's like, why I do all this spiritual stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's because of a feeling that one can have, you know. You don't have to have it, you don't have to seek it out, you know, but it is there. And it's not you know, you don't have to like be into spirituality, you know, but it is real and it is out there. And like, if you're in Bali, for example, you know, you meet the local people, you know, and there's this whole Vedic culture and this, you know, Balinese, you know, Hinduism, which has apparently been around as long as it has been in India. You know, and they're connecting with the energies in the different areas, and they're making their offerings, you know, up to the powers greater than themselves. And yeah, this stuff is there's something to it, you know. There's like so much more out there than we can perceive, but we can't really understand it. We can't really wrap our heads around it. Like, how do you understand God? You can't like know all about God, you know. You can connect with the feeling though. That's where the practice comes in, is like you just, that feeling of love, that's our way in, not like, oh, I understand it in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a logical thing. It's a feeling thing, you know, an emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's something you only get to when you're resting, which is, I think, what meditation's all about. It's about rest. But I also think that's why exercise is so important, because, you know, walking, for instance, is probably the best exercise. If you just walk lots of places, you can just reach this like kind of state of rhythm, you know, because walking is very usually gentle, but also you maintain the same kind of pace usually. and then it's the rhythm of the walk that relaxes you. I think rhythm relaxes everybody. Music, for instance, and chanting, and that's why they chant, right? Is because it just relaxes your body. The vibration of the energy, it just relaxes your mind, and then it gets you back into that deep state of like Om.
Yes.
It's Om. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Om.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot there in what you just said. I mean, that's why, you know, people think of yoga, people do the yoga poses.
Sure.
But that's just meant to bring us to this next level where you realize, like, oh, okay, I'm not my body. But you need to come to the senses in order to control the senses. And then the sound vibration, you know, they say it's the most subtle of our 5 senses. And so sound, you know, it can go beyond the body, beyond the mind, and touch that deeper level because it's such a subtle thing.
Yeah. I think yoga too, it puts you in this state of like, I don't want to say pain or struggle, but like constant exertion, you know? Because you're not running, you're not jumping, you're sitting still in a position that is not particularly the most comfortable position you've ever been in. like a regular seated position could be like like the seated, like the child pose, for instance, where you kind of relax for a bit, and then you get up in a downward dog, and all of a sudden you're in this kind of uncomfortable position. But when you find the ability to be comfortable in an uncomfortable position, you can like completely relax, even more so than if you're comfortable in a comfortable position. It's like your body, like it trips a switch, like something changes all of a sudden, you know? It's weird like that.
That's well said.
It's like, yeah, there's something in our head that changes, man. I don't know what it is, but it feels amazing. And it's also like, it's a thing about discipline too as well. Like when you can discipline yourself to do one thing, of course, throughout the rest of your life, you're going to be more disciplined. Like you're sober, and that takes a lot of discipline to do that. Like last night we're drinking a bunch of beers, and you're like, nah, bro, I'm going to have a mocktail. And just like talking like how amazing it is and stuff, kind of making me jealous. I kind of wanted to get a mocktail after that, you know? And like, it's just, dudes, I think honestly, you kind of have to be sober to appreciate it, because when you're fucked up, like whether it be beer or alcohol, weed, you know, mushrooms, everything. I mean, mushrooms are a little bit different, but still you're a bit disconnected from the source of calmness, right? Your body is tumultuous, like especially your mind and your emotions are very tumultuous on anything. Like when I drink, I'm like so excited to talk to people. Some people when they drink, they're like angry and they want to fight everybody. Weed, maybe it dulls your senses a bit, but also kind of lightens up other senses like creativity or like, you know, imagination, that kind of stuff. I remember my first experience, like in myself meeting, you know, the creator. That's the creator source. Like actually getting close to it and feeling close to it was on mushrooms. Mm-hmm. I had taken quite a big dose at like a big festival event, and I was walking around and I heard the most amazing, beautiful music being played. And so I just walked towards that, like followed the music to this main stage, and this guy was playing a Pink Floyd song with a violin, and just by himself, violin only. And it was just the most incredible experience, because I love that song, but also the violin and the vibration of it. And like all of a sudden I just had this like deep sense of like, now I understand everything in life. Like you can't even explain it in this mindset, in this state, but
yeah,
you know.
Oh, I totally relate to that on the, you know, that mushroom experience when you're like, oh,
just
God
like,
is love.
all I am is I am nothing and God is all, you know, and we are all one. That I think that's what the main feeling was, is I'm connected to everybody. It's like being a tree in a forest. Your roots are connected to everybody. You just don't really realize it, you know? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people, they meet in a group and they all hold hands. And like by holding hands in a group of like 5 or 10, maybe 20 people, you feel this like electrical energy.
They say that the soul is like observing the play. Like the soul isn't the mind. It's not the body, it's observing. It's like I'm over here thinking like I am my thoughts. I am what's happening in my mind, but that's not what we're told, you know, in the practice of yoga. That there, you know, the true identity is this observer behind all of it, which we call the soul. But all these words that we use, like the word love, the word God, like they're all words. you know, that can't fully describe like the real situation. So the felt experience, the feeling of when I, you know, if you connect in meditation, like you feel that there's this presence, like that's the only way to really get in touch with this stuff, like this philosophy. It's through a feeling. And it's like why I do all this spiritual stuff, blah blah blah. It's like it's because of a feeling that one can have, you know. You don't have to have it, you don't have to seek it out, you know, but it is there. And it's not an, you know, you don't have to like be into spirituality, you know. But it is real and it is out there. And like if you're in Bali, for example, you know, you meet the local people, you know, and there's this whole Vedic culture and this, you know, Balinese, you know, Hinduism, which has apparently been around as long as it has been in India. You know, and they're connecting with the energies and the different areas, and they're, you know, they're making their offerings, you know, up to the powers greater than themselves. And yeah, this stuff is there's something to it, you know. There's like so much more out there than we can perceive, but we can't really understand it. We can't really wrap our heads around it. Like, how do you understand God? You can't like know all about God, you know. You can connect with the feeling though. That's where the practice comes in. It's like you just, that feeling of love. That's our way in. Not like, oh, I understand it in my head. Yeah.
It's not like a logical thing.
Yeah.
It's a feeling thing, an emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's something you only get to when you're resting, which is, I think, what meditation is all about. It's about resting. But I also think that's why exercise is so important, because, you know, walking, for instance, is probably the best exercise. You just walk lots of places. You can just reach this like kind of state of rhythm, you know, because walking is very usually gentle, but also you maintain the same kind of pace usually, and then it's the rhythm of the walk that relaxes you. I think rhythm relaxes everybody. Music, for instance, and chanting, and that's why they chant, right? It's because it just relaxes your body. The vibration of the energy just relaxes your mind, and then it gets you back to that state of like Om.
Yes.
It's Om. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Om.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot there in what you just said. I mean, that's why, you know, people think of yoga as people do the yoga poses, but that's just meant to bring us to this next level where you realize, like, oh, okay, I'm not my body. But you need to come to the senses in order to control the senses. And then the sound vibration, you know, they say it's the most subtle of our five senses. And so sound, you know, it can go beyond the body, beyond the mind, and touch that deeper level because it's such a subtle thing.
Yoga too, it puts you in a state of like, I don't want to say pain or struggle, but like constant exertion, you know? Because you're not running, you're not jumping, you're sitting still in a position that is not particularly the most comfortable position you've ever been in. like a regular seated position could be like like seated, like the cow pose, for instance, where you kind of relax with it. And then you get up in a downward dog, and all of a sudden you're in this kind of uncomfortable position. But when you find the ability to be comfortable in an uncomfortable position, you can like completely relax, even more so than if you're comfortable in a comfortable position. It's like your body, like, it trips a switch, like something changes all of a sudden, you know? It's weird like that.
That's well said, yeah.
It's like, yeah, there's something in our head that changes, man. I don't know what it is, but it feels amazing. And it's also like, it's the thing about discipline too, as well. Like, when you can discipline yourself to do one thing, of course, throughout the rest of your life, you're gonna get more disciplined. Like, you're sober, and that takes a lot of discipline to do that. Like, last night we're drinking a bunch of beers. You're like, nah, bro, I'm gonna have a mocktail. And it's like talking like how amazing it is and stuff, kind of making me jealous. I kind of wanted to get a mocktail after that, you know? You're like, this is, dude, I think, honestly, you kind of have to be sober to appreciate it. Because when you're fucked up, like whether it be beer or alcohol, weed, you know, mushrooms, everything. I mean, mushrooms are a little bit different, but still, you're a bit disconnected from the source of calmness, right? Your body is tumultuous, like especially your mind, emotions are very tumultuous on anything. Like when I drink, I'm so excited to talk to people. Some people when they drink, they're like angry and they want to fight everybody. Weed, maybe it dulls your senses a bit, but also kind of lightens up other senses like creativity or like, you know, imagination, that kind of stuff. I remember my first experience, like in myself meeting, you know, the creator. That's the creator source. Like actually getting close to it, feeling close to it, was on mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken quite a big dose at like a big festival event, and I was walking around and I heard the most amazing, beautiful music being played. And so I just walked towards that, like followed the music to this main stage, and this guy was playing a Pink Floyd song with a violin, and just by himself, violin only, and it was just the most incredible experience. I love that song, but also the violin and the vibration of it, and like all of a sudden I just have this like deep sense of like, now I understand everything in life. Like you can't even explain it in this mindset, in this state, but
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I totally relate to that. You know, that mushroom experience when you're like, oh, God is love.
All I am is I am nothing and God is all. You know, we are all one. That I think that's what the main feeling was. Is I'm connected to everybody. It's like being a tree in a forest. Your roots are connected to everybody. You just don't really realize it. You know, like a lot of people, they meet in a group and they all hold hands. And like by holding hands in a group of like 5 or 10, maybe 20 people, you feel this like electrical energy. You know, it's just like it's glowing. You're like a circuit. You know, I think there's a lot to our deep existence that we don't really understand. You know, that we're always seeking, right? The like interconnectedness of us all.
Yeah. Exactly. So, like we don't understand, and that's
We're seeking the truth for a reason.
yes, and that's why it's considered that, you know, the yoga of love is a faster way to self-realization than, you know, knowledge or action, like austerities, like yoga poses, because love is the direct line to truth. In this mind, how can this mind understand something like God, you know, like what, but I can connect with love. So that's why I'm so attracted to Bhakti Yoga. You know, because it's just attractive, it's just sweet, it's I'm surprised more people aren't into it.
I'm kind of becoming extremely curious.
Yeah.
Just talking and hearing about it, because it is. In my past, I've done yoga throughout my life a few different times, just like the poses and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I was younger, a bit of Shaolin Kung Fu, my mom got me into doing and stuff. And it's like before they even start, they do this meditation, and it's like this vibrational meditation. So you sit there and like it feels so good, man. Like it's very relaxing. There's something to that, obviously. And then you kind of start thinking, why does it feel so good? Like I want to do that more often, but why? Like the curious mind is always thinking about that. Like let's dive deeper. There must be more here, you know.
And dude, and bringing it back to skating.
Yes.
Because this, I feel, is something that skaters are seeking more than what they're given in the matrix, than in the mundane, regular world of make money, you know, do this, do that. Skateboarding makes no sense. Skateboarding is crazy. Like, you have to be crazy to be a skateboarder. And I feel that for me, like, it's that seeking, that pushing, that desire to, like, feel, to have, like, experience something. You know, that skating is, you know, something that we can do to burn this passion, you know, this deep desire for life, you know,
Exploration, adventure, you know, challenges in general, like overcoming adversity, socializing.
risking our lives, like putting our lives on the line, like
in the last few years, I've discovered that skateboarding for me now, more than before, is so much more about community than it ever was in my life. Like I've gone through phases in my life where it's like I really wanted to accomplish this trick or like go to this place, but like I'm kind of over that. I love traveling and accomplishing tricks still, but I really, really, really love meeting people and connecting with people, like more so. And I think it's just because I'm in a different phase of my life now. But maybe when we evolve in life, and some people are like this at a younger age, some people are like this when they get older. Like it is different. But I felt like the community of skateboarding is so fucking cool, man, because everybody knows and understands why we love to do it so much, and why we need to support it and bring up the kids and bring up the culture and the scene and support each other. We have ideas, something good happens, like build that up. Don't put it down. Yeah, because it's like one of those extremely dangerous things. And even when somebody's doing something simple, we should celebrate it. Like a 50-50 grind, like on a box. Like, so what? But hey, man, maybe for that person it's amazing, and maybe it's just a warm up for something else. But like celebrate that. Like, whenever I'm at the skate park, banging the board on the ground, like whistling, that kind of shit. Like it's just building people up, it's psyching at the scene, like bringing the energy and shit. People appreciate it. I always appreciate it when you're at a skate park and someone's like, "That's tight." You're just like, "Oh, it feels good."
Yes.
Appreciation is amazing, right? Yeah. Without that, it's so boring, dude. Like I would go to the skate park by myself sometimes and just like have no like motivation to try things. Maybe if I put the camera up, then I have a motivation because I like want to film something on the gram or some shit, which is the way skateboarding is.
Yes.
Community, bro.
Yes.
Connections.
Exactly. And I think I may have mentioned this before, but the whole reason I got into skating was because I wanted to be connected to my brother. And it's still true.
Family's the most important thing. Because those are the people you're always going to be connected to in life, whether you like it or not. You might go through things with them sometimes, but you're always going to come back.
So more than ever, I'm finding when I show up to a skate sesh, I'm needing to be conscious of my approach. Can I be mindful about what mood I'm in, how I'm engaging with this activity, and for me, part of that is coming into it with gratitude, making it an offering, and then not putting these expectations on how I'm going to perform and be the cool guy in this circumstance.
That's where the struggle of having an identity of a pro skater comes in, right?
Yes.
You're like, fuck, man, I gotta be pro. I have an image to uphold, but like at the same time, it always works better when you know that.
Yes. And that's why I thought my progression now is to have the most fun. Because I have spent a lot of times, like, as the dude, there's clips of me freaking out trying to trick in the street. Full yelling, like freaking out, full rage mode. And I've got that in me. And so this is my progression. How can I have the best possible relationship with skating? Not how can I be the best skater, how can I have the best possible relationship to skating? Think about that. Think of that. That's your progression now. Not how good can you be, how can you heal your relationship to skating?
It's this thing that every skateboarder's life is a big thing. You wake up every day, you're looking at the skate video, or a clip on Instagram, it's like, you want to try that chick?
Oh my god, fuck Instagram. I'm so sick of it. So sick of it. I love it and I hate it.
Yeah, I know. It's great and it's terrible at the same time. It definitely has a very bright side, but also a very dark side. I mean, it's because it's corporate. Imagine for a moment, if the corporations didn't own Instagram, and it was like a community effort. Kind of like if there was a blockchain version of a social media site like Instagram, and there was no ads, and we all got rewarded for connecting with people. Like we would get tokens for liking or commenting or something like that, and then you could use those tokens for something, I don't know what, but like that would be such a more authentic experience, Like that's how a community is. Like it's like going to do a trick and knowing that, you know, no matter what happens, I'm gonna fucking see an advertisement. Oh, there's an ad, there's an ad, there's an ad. And you kind of low-key hate it. Like, another ad, you know? I hate scrolling the feed, man. It's the worst thing.
Oh, dude, the worst doom scroll of my life is like watching really good kids from Japan skating mini ramps. Like really good little kids in Japan just absolutely murdering mini ramps.
I want to go to Japan and see these
It
kids.
is the worst because they're so good, and then I get into like, oh my god, these kids are like 5, and they're so good at mini ramp skating. And then I feel so bad after. And it's not that I don't. It's like. It's not that I don't love that they're killing it. I love them and I love how good they are. It's just I don't feel good after doom scrolling it. I'm sure if I was there in person, I'd be super stoked.
I think Instagram is fabulous for networking and skateboarding.
Yeah,
and that's what I really enjoy it for.
That's the thing.
That's the main thing I try to use it for. You know, networking and connecting. You know, I mean, I do get caught in the occasional doom scroll, and I really try to like limit that shit. Like lately, since I talked to you actually, I've really been, you know, thinking more about meditation. Like every morning I sit there and I put the phone down, I just stare off into space for a minute. I close my eyes and just take deep breaths. I just feel so good. Like the phone and the doom scroll doesn't feel good afterwards. But you just sit there and do nothing, and you don't even think about anything. And it feels so good. It's like very relaxing. So guys, you're watching this on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, we appreciate you, we love you. Take a break, set your phone down, whatever you're watching this on, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think about nothing for a minute. And let us know how that feels.
And then let's, you know, for me, I'm like, I need boundaries with my Instagram. I'm figuring this out. Like, how do I have boundaries with Instagram? Yeah. It's so hard. We gotta work on it. We gotta get better at this, because I think it's, for me, and I know I'm not the only one, it actually kills my stoke when I'm watching too much skating.
So Instagram's good for a few different things, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with Instagram is that when you open the app, it goes to the feed. That's the problem. Imagine, instead of it going to the feed, it went to your messages. Then instead of automatically getting locked in immediately to these like attention-getting ads, because what they always put the ads first, right? It's like boom, there's an ad, or there's like the most exciting video possible. So it moves you in instantly, it catches your attention, right? Instead of that, you're thinking, oh, my friends, my family.
Yeah.
You know, we need to change the way social media is set up. We need to remove the advertising. Seriously, I get it that it's a company and you got to feed the company, but come on, we can do better than this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of it is we need to have those boundaries for ourselves.
Exactly. It's self-control.
Because the corporations aren't gonna.
So immediately when you open the app, don't scroll the feed, swipe to the left, and your messages will appear. All of a sudden you're thinking about your friends. Let's connect. What are we doing today? What are we doing tonight? Blah blah blah.
I needed to hear that. I need to hear that. Yeah.
Just don't even fucking look at the feed. Zoom. And all of a sudden you're not thinking about stupid content, kids doing crazy shit that you can't do or you haven't done yet.
And then there's the app time limits too that I started getting into recently too.
I discovered this through moving into publishing more often. It's like when you're publishing content, it immediately, even you publish it, it goes straight back to the feed. And it messes your brain up because you're really focused on publishing this content. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're like transfixed. It's like hypnotizing this feed. You know, your eyes just go blurry and shit. and it puts your brain, like they've done studies on this. Like it lowers your brain activity. It makes you like a zombie, you know? And it might feel relaxing at first, but it's not good. It's not good for you long term.
That just got me thinking about the flute, dude.
The flute is amazing.
I want to end with a little flute jam.
Do it, please do it.
Let me just grab the flute.
Yes. Awesome idea.
Yeah, this is just one of those cheap flutes you can buy in any, like, a lot of the stores, you know, where people sell, like, a lot of the same stuff. You'll find these out here, but they actually play. Yeah, so Trevor, dude, thank you so much for everything. that you've shared with me coming here. I feel like I have connections here in Bali, and I'm actually really looking forward to coming back and continuing to connect with this place. And this land in Bali here is really special. You know, there's a reason people are here. Like, people from other countries are here, and that there's such a spiritual connection here. It really is like a vortex of people, of energy. And
You were talking about that, there's ley lines.
yeah, I found out about this, like the ley lines. There's something about them I don't understand, but there are these lines of energy through the earth, and the two of them intersect here in Bali. I realized, so it makes it like, they call it like a vortex or whatever, where it's one of those places where people are drawn to, like a magnet, when they're, you know, for medicine, for seeking. So and there's something about that here in Bali, and the energies in the different places on this island are different. And so yeah, as I leave, you know, I'm feeling touched by this experience and very grateful. So with that, we'll give a little jam. Bali baby. We did it. We did it.
This life is amazing.
This
isn't it?
life is beautiful.
I'll be honest. Seriously.
Thank you, brother.
You are the man. And I hope you come back soon. And when you do, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. In a year, let's do it again. Yeah.
We'll do an update podcast. We'll see you guys then.
Hare Krishna.